Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson, and this is the post-match Norwich City review, and I've just sat here and I thought, got no notes. Probably covered everything I wanted to speak about in the Full-Time Devils one that I did, which is 8 minutes, which meant everyone at Full-Time Devils is screwing because I've done an 8-minute one instead of like a 2 or 3 minute one, but it's what I do. So, I need to figure out something to talk about that's not already been covered in there, so I need to tidy this office up. Seen all these? Someone said get us a spare of Spurs under 21 programmes when you go to Spurs. Didn't need that many, did I? The game. Fucking hell, how boring was that first half? Now, there's two teams in a game of football, and I think a lot of people forget that. I saw Celtic beat Barcelona once. If a team doesn't want to play you, it's incredibly hard, and United have found that a lot this year, and it's evidenced by the fact that we do exceptionally well, the best in the league, in the little mini top 6 league. We are the best. We've dropped all our points, the vast majority of our points, because we have still dropped against some of the bigger clubs, like Arsenal tanned our asses, didn't they, at the Emirates. But we have dropped most of our points against teams that we was expected to turn over, especially at home, and especially against newly promoted sides who then go and celebrate like they've just won the league themselves. So that was the fatal flaw in Van Gaal's plan, because I think if it wasn't for that, we would have had a title challenge this season easily. There's games that you look at and you go, every other season that's 3 points for us, hands down. And it's those games that you look at and you go, that would have been a turning point. I don't have it to hand, and this computer's turned off, so it took me most of the video to get it on, to find out how far we actually are off Leicester. I think it's probably about 13, 14 points, I think, off the top of my head. So that's a fair few wins. That's like 4 wins, 5 wins, isn't it? So, you know, and it's a couple of draws turned into wins. We've had several draws, but it's also a couple of the losses turned into wins or draws as well. So, is it that bad on the face of things? I'd rather be in our position where we can beat the top 6 teams and we need to figure out what to do against the lesser teams than be in a team like City position who flat track bullied the lower teams. I think City have got 1 win against top 6 opponents. For how much they was meant to walk the league this year and for how poor we've been all year, they haven't even scored a fucking goal against us. They drew 0-0, and that was a 0-0 win for City at Old Trafford. They were shite. They came. That was a win for them because they came and played for that. And that's the problem. That's what I was getting at. Was when a team like today, like Norwich, comes and plays for 0-0 and just doesn't move. They don't take any risks. Their fullbacks are not bombing forward, and they're not overlapping because they're like, nope, we're sitting right here because we're not exposing ourselves. And they have 1 or 2 deep-lying playmakers or midfielders, defensive midfielders, anchormen, whatever you want to call them, and they sit right on top of that defence. Then you've got a defensive unit of 6 people as a minimum. Now, if their midfielders are also tucking in as well, now you're looking at 8 people that you've got to deal with. And it's difficult, to say the absolute least. It's difficult. United have got a lack of movement as a starter. So what's happened when we played the big teams is that lack of movement doesn't get exposed because there's more space. The bigger team fullbacks do push on. The bigger team have a bigger space in between midfield and defence. The bigger team are also looking to counter-attack us. So they're trying to get behind us while we're trying to get behind them. So that leaves gaps. And we're able to exploit it in those gaps. And we're very good against those teams because defensively we're very organised, evidenced by the fact that we've just kept the most clean sheets in the league this year. Defensively, we allow the second least amount of shots on target, only second to Spurs. The thing that we've got to figure out is what we do with the ball at our feet. And that's not just in the big games. Even in the bigger games, those top 6 games, we've not done it enough. And we've been shredded twice this season. Tottenham and Arsenal tore us to absolute shreds and we didn't have an answer. Or the answer might have been against Spurs at least, Timothy Fosu-Mensah, which is bananas. It's bananas that an 18-year-old 3-4 games into his Manchester United career can make the difference, but it seemed on the face of it that he did make the difference. Good to see him come on in central midfield today. At least he's got minutes there. I was going to say he's got a game there, but he's not got a game on there, has he? He's got minutes there so far. So that's been the problem, and it's just that breaking down. So when people say that there's been no progress, there fucking has been progress. There's been progress in certain areas. There's not been progress across the board. And yeah, do you know what? It's pretty boring. But there's two teams in a game of football. And sometimes it's on us. And today I thought the gamble paid off a little bit by resting Rashford. And I did go a little bit into depth in this on the full-time Devils one I've done, but I'll mention it again. Resting a player, some people I've seen at the start of the game were saying if you're going to rest him, just put him on the bench. We've still got to travel down there, and Norwich is a hell of a way to go. I'm not sure how United would have got there, whether they would have got to train, combination of train and coaches, or whether we would have just flown there. I actually have no idea how Manchester United got to Norwich for today's game. For London games, we always get the train, and they all jib back off at Stockport. But for the games like this, I actually don't know how we get to Norwich. It's a nightmare to get to. So the travelling takes it out of you. Travelling's a nightmare. Travelling it's work without doing anything. You think you're sat still doing nothing, but you're still using up energy. You're still mentally involved. You still got to talk to people. A weekend off for Marcus Rashford. You've got to remember this kid is 18 years old. At the start of this season, he'd have been thinking, just want to play well in the under-18s, maybe have a decent cup run, maybe look to score 15 or 20 goals in the under-18s. That would have been the literal limit of what he was thinking. And that would have been him being optimistic. He wouldn't have been thinking, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to break onto the bench in about November. And then I'm just going to stick around the first team training a little bit. And then I'm going to break into the first team, score 2 on my debut, score 2 and get man of the match on my league debut, play 15 games before the end of the season and win under-18s player of the year. I don't think that entered his mind at all. But that's what he's found himself, and his performances have put him there. So Marcus Rashford needs a mental break as much as anything. You don't want to burn this kid out, because he is a special kid. He found that composure that I didn't think he had in the under-18s. He's got it by the bucket load. He's really, really shown that he's got that composure. So we don't want to waste him. Yeah, I know that it's a big deal to get top 4, but you know what? It'd be a bigger deal to have a genuine top draw footballer from Manchester come through the academy and stay in the team like the likes of Giggs and Scholes have done. I'm not saying that Marcus can do that, but maybe this break is something that he really needed, mentally as well as physically. And maybe now you've got a hungry Marcus Rashford, rested Marcus Rashford, and we unload him on West Ham. Because we did gamble a little bit today. And hopefully Marshall's fit as well, because I think we just missed a pair of them. Of late, they've been doing awesome little one-touches, really skillful, just little and confident little flicks and back heels, and they're looking for each other, and they've got movement off the ball. And that's what we didn't have today. And I think if we'd have had them today, we might have put them away quite easily. Because they was there for the taking. They really was. But now he's been rested. The gamble has so far paid off. We still have to go to West Ham. And I reckon Blind and Rashford are straight back into that starting 11. And I would like to see Schneiderlin into that starting 11. And who knows, we might see Fosu Mensah. Probably going to see Borthwick Jackson. I wouldn't mind seeing Riley brought back into the bench, because he's another player. When you look around at the players that we saw, Januzaj was unfortunate not to go on twice today. But if you look around at the players that are on the bench, there was no one that you was thinking, who's going to change the game? Januzaj is not going to change the game. Januzaj has had an absolute stinker of a season. An absolute stinker of the season. Hopefully that's still recording. Yep, I think it is. I just had the battery low message on my phone, so hopefully it's still going. So Januzaj's had a stinker of a season. He stunk the place out at Dortmund, and he's stunk the under-21s out since he's come back in the under-21s. So he doesn't deserve a place. Pereira does. If it had been Pereira on the bench, I still don't think he's the sort of player that can come on and change a game just yet. He needs more games, and he needs to be able to prove himself a little bit more at this level. But Januzaj, I'm looking at it and I'm going, he's not changing the game. I think to change a flagging game, you need pace. And that's why Javier Hernandez was so good at changing games, because he was fast on a fresh team, let alone a tired team. Januzaj's not got no speed. He's got really great first touch, and he's got good control and that, and he's got quality about his play, but if he's not in the mood, then he's not any good. and he just doesn't strike me as hungry at the moment or really aggressively looking for something. Pereira can do that. Marshall and Rashford certainly can do that. And that's why I would like Joe Riley on there as well, because even though he's not an attacking player, he's a player that can play right midfield or right back. And he's proved himself excellently to play left back also. And I think he might have played left midfield as well. And the reason he can do that is just because he's got a tempo in him. He just does not give up. He is very Tevez-esque in the way he just doggedly chases the ball down. I said him and Rashford are very similar in that sort of determination. It rubs off on other players. It's fantastic to see. I would put Riley on ahead of Januzaj at the moment, because undoubtedly Januzaj is a more skillful player, but Riley's determination and grit and drive is more likely to change a game for me. The under-21 season's finished now. It's not really the time to be experimenting and giving out more debuts. But there are a couple more lads that I think probably need to give it. We've mentioned Tuanzebe a couple of times, and one of the fan cams on Full Time, I was going to check it out, actually. It's the very last fan cam, talking about Tuanzebe. And he said he's the best he's ever seen, or one of the best he's ever seen, which is very interesting. Tuanzebe is a fantastic footballer. Just got a cable all tied up here. Tuanzebe is a fantastic footballer, and he was the first of the ones that Louis van Gaal named on the bench when he started naming all these youngsters, and he was very unfortunate to get an injury, which has basically lasted up until about 2 weeks ago, before he's just come back into the under-21 side. He's captained the under-21s, I think. He's captained the 18s a lot, and he's a fantastic footballer. I've said a few times, there's some wonderful centre-halves. I don't like Fosu Mensah as a centre-half. I think you get more Fosu Mensah out of a midfielder because he can impact the game more there. You get a fine centre-half, but you limit what he can do with the ball as a centre-half. He's on the ball more in midfield, and you want your better players on the ball. But there's 3 centre-halves at the club that I am absolutely buzzing for. And I'm also gutted because they're not all going to make it. There's no way 3 centre-halves that are 17 and 18 can all come through together. It can't happen. 3 into what's probably going to be 1 backup spot does not go. And that's Roshan, and that's Tyrell Warren, and that's Axel Tuanzebe. And the 3 of them, I would have no qualms. If I was a Premier League manager in the bottom half of the Premier League at the moment, I would have no qualms taking any of them on loan and giving them 20-25 matches per season at least. So, today's game. There's not a lot I can say on today's game from a tactical point of view, from an analytical point of view. It was just... I don't know if the sun affected it, maybe. It looked hot. And that can definitely sap a team's energy, but you have to question players themselves. You've got to get up for games like this. This is as cliched as you like, but it's 3-4 cup finals to the end of the season now. Paint it however you like. It's 3 or 4 cup finals, and it's as simple as that. Oh, now it's 2, isn't it? It's 2 cup finals for us now. And then a final one, which is an actual cup final. Do you know what people say? Treat every game like it's a Champions League final. And then when you get to the Champions League final, how do you treat the Champions League final? Then you try and treat it like it's every other game. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? Anyway. Well gone off topic. Well gone off track what I wanted to talk about. Oh, I did want to mention, the podcast didn't get uploaded this week because I fucked the sound up on it royal. I've got a world champion boxer. We did start it on Thursday. We had to stop it because it wasn't recording the guy that I was talking to's audio. So we had to stop it about 20 minutes in. We couldn't restart. We didn't have enough time to restart. So that's going to be happening tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I'm not quite sure. I have to check my notes. I do have an international footballer, just retired international footballer, who I'm hoping is going to be joining me, I think Wednesday this week. So that one will probably go up on Thursday. It might go up Wednesday, probably Thursday. But I could do with your help. Tag some people. Tell them to get in touch with me. Anybody that you'd like to see me talking to about football, about anything. Because I've tried to keep the podcast quite diverse. There's a guy that I do want to ask, actually, and that's Bishop Lamont. I don't know if everyone's ever heard of his music. I maybe don't strike everyone as a big hip-hop head. And I'm not really a massive hip-hop head, but there are a few artists that I really like listening to. And Bishop Lamont is one of those. I've seen him in Manchester I think it's probably just before Christmas, actually, with Illy, that you see on Full Time Devils sometimes. And he was class. And I've been following him ever since, listened to all his stuff, and he's quite responsive when you chat to him on Twitter. So he's one guy that I'm going to try and talk to. And there's all sorts of different random people. I'm going to try Baz Rutten as well. I don't reckon he'll do it, but I am going to try Baz Rutten. There's an MMA video out on MMA Latest. Please go and check that out. We are trying to get MMA Latest up to some respectable amount of subs. Get tons of hits on all the videos, but we just can't get any subs. I don't know if that's endemic in the MMA world, that everyone's just not used to it yet. It is a bit of an emerging market still, but just can't get the subs over there. It's crazy when you think how easy it's been for this channel to get subs. We're up to about 8,400 or so at the moment. I think I'm probably just on target to get that 10,000 by D-Day. And I am going out for D-Day. I'm planning on definitely hitting out, going to France for D-Day. And I'm going to try and stay in France for the Euros as well. And try and get to some games over the Euros. Not massively asked who. Not really the most patriotic England fan. United over England for me. I just want to go and watch some football. And I'd happily go and watch Ukraine versus Northern Ireland or somebody like that. I'd be happy just to go and watch the soaking tournament football, see the fans, watch the football, and that'd be happy days for me. There will be newspaper review tomorrow. I've got a couple of Footy Manager ones that I've just not had time to play the game. I've had time to record them, but I've got to advance the game to a certain level before I can record them. There will be a UFC update going on MMA Latest tomorrow, so check that one out as well. And I could do doing a FIFA one, couldn't I? But I'm shit at FIFA. Yeah, let me try and finish the end of the season on FIFA before the actual end of the season. So that gives me what? Fucking hell, not a lot of time really, does it? It's like this week. I'll give myself to the FA Cup finally. So that gives me next week. Yeah, we are going to be doing another one of those vlogs for the FA Cup final on Full Time Devils. That seemed to have quite good reaction by a lot of people, so we will definitely be doing that. Monday morning vlog on Full Time Devils. Fucking, I'm getting mixed up. Monday morning vlog on my website, stephenhowson.com. There's a Sunday morning column on MMA Latest as well, so check that out if you are into your MMA. I do something called a Sunday Submission, which is just another column I do on a Sunday. So fucking tons of content coming out over the next few days. Keep an eye on my Twitter, keep an eye on stephenhowson.com, because I do pretty much link everything from there wherever it's posted, especially the videos, the articles if they're on another website. I just tend to leave them usually. And I think that's about it. I've fucking run out of shit to say for tonight, I reckon. Rock and Roll Saturday night, I'm going to be doing either editing or nothing tonight, I think. Hey, did you watch the live yesterday I did with Full Time Devils? That was fucking chaotic, wasn't it? I'm fucking done. I'm just chatting shit. So yeah, newspaper review tomorrow morning. I'll go gym. I'll get some newspapers on the way back. I'll do that. I've got a guy coming to clean up my garden. I had a woodshed in there, but I've got a log burner, right, downstairs in the front room. Obviously for burning logs, that's the fireplace in the front room. The logs that it burns are about that big, like lengthwise. And we've got a wood store in there. My dad gave me a load of wood and it's all fucking this big. I haven't got a saw, I haven't got an axe, I haven't got no way of chopping it up to make it that big. And I also found out that wood needs to be stored for 12 months somewhere dry before it's useful as a wood burning source of fuel. So that outside, I live in northwest England where it rains all the fucking time. They've got massive hills all the way around us, so we just get dumped on with rain. That's Manchester, innit? The fucking woodshed doesn't keep it dry. It's got a big gap in it, about a 6-foot gap in the front of it. So water just pisses in. So everything's wet. It's just a waste of time. And it's actually blocking the light coming in from the kitchen door a little bit. So I took a sledgehammer to it, knocked fuck out of it the other day. And it's just in my garden waiting there now for someone to pick it up. So there's a guy coming tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow dinner time for it. So tomorrow it's going to be up, gym, back, newspaper review. Let that guy come and clean all that shit up in the garden. Then speak to the boxer chap, and then I need to do a Football Manager, I think, for Monday, and something else for Monday as well. And I probably should be doing a preview tomorrow, shouldn't I, for the West Ham game, I reckon. So yeah, that's about that. Thanks for watching, as usual. Thanks for all the subscribes. We will get to 10,000 pretty soon. Chuck anything you want in the messages. Talk to me about forums, actually, because we got a forum on MUFC Latest, and it's pretty quiet, and I don't know what to do with it. And I know that there's tons of people watch all these videos that would love somewhere to have like a bit of an organised chat, because some people use the messages below, the comment section below, as a bit of a forum. What would you like to do with the forum? It's a V-Bulletin forum. It costs us a fucking fortune to get it installed and that, and I just don't know what to do with it, to be honest. So that's about that. Thank you for watching. Anything you like in the comments, especially about V-Bulletin, MMA, today's game, this week's game, top 4, what's going on with Mourinho, what's going on with Van Gaal, fucking Youth Academy, fucking anything, absolutely anything. And especially about the V-Bulletin stuff. Thanks for watching. Fucking laters. See you in a bit.